What is up, everyone? Socrates 101 here, and today we are doing another team building video. So that means, well, basically what it means is that I don't want to be doing OU all the time, and I recently built this NU team, and a lot of, well, some NU tier changes happened. For me, it was pretty devastating that Seismitoad left a tier, because I used Seismitoad a lot, and it completely ruined the majority of my teams. I didn't like that, but this was a team I had in the back, and I patched up real quick, adapting a bit to the new meta. I will be building a team around what I do think is going to be Spike's Magneton, so we'll be looking forward to that one probably next week. But thing being, I really wanted to use the Golurk, that's what I decided to grab, to snatch up, and I decided to build around it. I really wanted to just go with the nice and standard Stealth Rock in Golurk. I don't feel as much about the Choice Bandit one, even though it's really powerful. I do think getting up Stealth Rocks reliably, and it still hits really hard with its base 124 attack stat. So what we're going to go with is Stealth Rock, Shadow Punch. We're going to go with Dual Stop here, Earthquake. And then we're gonna go with Ice Punch. So the EV spread for this one is a bit odd, is a bit weird, but we're gonna be running 100 speed, and I'll explain in a second why we do that. And we're gonna be running a Adamant Nature with this guy, and we dump the rest of it into our HP. So the reason why we run 100 speed gives you 171 speed, because usually Golurk is either max speed, but I don't think it's necessary for the set because you want to run a bit more bulky, and because this allows you to get up your Stealth Rocks more reliably than going max speed, max attack adamant, which you'd want to do if you be running a choice band, I do think. I've never actually run a choice band of Golurk. Maybe I should do that in the near future. But what this allows you to outspeed is, for example, a Lantern. You can OHKO that with an Earthquake. It outspeeds Flareon, which is not really a threat ever, but it was in the list, and I thought, well, Golurk gets probably OHKO'd by a Flare Blitz. So that's definitely a thing you want to keep in mind. Malamar, 0 speed Malamar, because Malamar often tends to run 0 speed when it's a Rest Talk set, and he cannot set up in Golurk with the superpower, and I don't think an OHKO can OHKO. Not sure about that one though, but you can get off some really a lot of damage on the Malamar with the Earthquake and the Shadow Punch, with the Earthquake more than likely. So that's going to be our lead 9 out of 10 times, but this is just a reliable rocker, and also packs a punch, because it reaches 381 attack, which is ridiculous for the NU tier. Next Pokemon, I wanted a Special Sweeper that actually pairs up with Golurk really nice, and I decided to go, you know what, I tried Lilligant once with Gargleflop, and it was terrible, and I put it on this team, and it works. I really like it. I'm not running the standard Lumberry set, I'm running Meadow Plate, because it's either apparently Lumberry or the Life Orb set, but I do think there is quite some priority in the NU tier, and I figure, you know what, I don't want any damage on my Lilligant, so I decided to go with Meadow Plate. It still boosts your Petal Dance a lot, so that's why I went with Meadow Plate, and you don't take damage, so that's kind of what I was going at. So the nice and standard Sleep Powder, Quiver Dance, hello, there we go, Petal Dance. You can go with the Giga Drain if you prefer health recovery on this guy, and the last one is going to be Hidden Power Rock, because that allows you to hit those flying types, which this team, as you will see, doesn't really like taking. So there we go. This is going to be our Lilligant, but we're not going to be running a Modest Nature. We are going to be running a Timid Nature. So stupid for me clicking on a suggested spread, but it's kind of laziness right here. It's really easy to do, but the reason why you don't want to do that is because you outspeed certain things, like base 85s in the tier, which can be dominant. I forgot what it's about, but for example, offensive Xatu also gets wrecked by HP Rock, which is also the reason why we run Empire Rock in the first place. But so those are things that you want to keep in mind. I do think timid is better because Lilligan not always has the opportunity to set up, and you really want to be faster than some things before actually getting that off, or at least speed high with things like the Kling Klang. You will outspeed other Lilligans. You will outspeed things like McMortar as soon as so you don't have to hit. When McMortar is weakened, you don't have to rely on a Sleep Powder, and you just Sleep Powder can miss, and then you can just, when it's weakened, you can kill with it a Power Rock. So that's going to be a good thing. In general, you're going to outspeeding Pinsir, which is a new threat in the tier. You're going to outspeeding Rotom Fan if it's not. Going to outspeeding Choice Banded Sock. Same thing with Vivillon. You're going to be outspeeding Vivillon before it sets up a Quiver Dance. So those are all things that you will outspeed. Maybe I'm going a bit too in depth with this because I kind of had to look it up. But next Pokemon though is going to be Xatu, and we are running the Colbur Berry on this one because this team does not really have any switch-ins for. Well, it does have a switch-in for Choice Banded Sock, but as soon as you predict, as soon as Gramble goes down, which is going to be our next Pokemon. Xatu does not like taking knockoffs, so that's why we run the Colbur Berry. We're just gonna go with the Psyshock. Basically, I'm also running Psyshock because you can get off a Toxic. We're running Toxic on this thing over the Mexican set, which is a T-Wave set. You'll see in a second why that. Well, obviously we're running Gramble, so you don't want to be having two Thunder Waves. I do think that Toxic is more beneficial. And the last move, obviously, is going to be Roost. We're gonna go with the nice and standard set. Go with the minus attack nature, and then we put it in. I do think I have it in Spadef. Yeah, I do have it in Spadef. So that's going to be our nice and standard Xatu. Xatu's just there to eat up hits, be annoying, toxic stall perhaps. So this team, as you may guess, is going to be somewhat of a balanced team. As I said before, we don't have anything that can take on Sock reliably, so we had to kind of go with a Gramble. Which is almost the only thing that takes on Sock reliably in this tier. But we go with Play Rough, we go with the nice and standard, one of my favorite mons in this tier, with the Thunder Wave, and also a move that's not very unimportant. That is not unimportant on this team is going to be Heal Bell. Once again, we are just going to go with the nice and standard spread with the max HP, max defense, Impish Nature, and then the remaining 4 in attack. So the next Pokemon is going to be Lantern, because we don't have a especially defensive mon. Lantern fits well with this team, and it can grant momentum. We have that nice Volt Switch core with our defensive Pokemon, which may seem a bit odd, but however, it does work out for me. I really like this team as it is right now. So we're just going to go with the leftovers, and with the Scald, the Volt Switch. I do think we are running Power Grass on this thing, because otherwise we don't really have anything that could deal with Seismitoad. This team was built when Seismitoad was still here, so maybe if you think it's more beneficial, you can change up the Hidden Power Grass to an Ice Beam. That could work, and the last move is going to be Protect, because we want to have a nice core with the Gramble. Since Lantern has a massive HP stat, we are not going to be running a lot of HP, and since Lantern, I said Lantern, right? Lantern has massive HP, so we only need a couple of EVs in that, and it has the worst defensive stats. So what we're going to do is we're going to max this one out. Even though this is our Spadef wall, we're just going to dump the rest of it in Spadef and give this guy a Calm Nature. So this allows the Lantern to take hits from both ends pretty reasonably effectively. I mean, Lantern still does not appreciate taking super effective hits, but apparently Lantern is not that heavy as I expected it to be, and it takes Grass Knots like a champion, so that's really good to bring it in against as well physically offensive, especially offensive Samurott. So that's also, as you're looking at my team, apart from Lilligan's the only thing that can deal with Samurott, but having another Samurott check, which is A+ in the viability threat right now, is definitely a good thing. And so the last mon I wanted for this team is something that's fast, something that packs a lot of power, maybe even mixed attacker, because we don't have any fire moves on this team, and Ferrothorn does seem like a Ferrous Seed does seem like a bit of a problem, so I just wanted to go with Fast, Life Orb, Sheer Force. You know where we're going with this. We are gonna go with Taurus right here. So we're gonna be running the Life Orb on the Sheer Force stat, Rock Climb, Rock Slide, because Rock Slide is actually more powerful after the Sheer Force boost than Stone Edges. So that's why you run Rock Slide on this guy. And you don't have a chance to flinch because of Sheer Force, because of that same Sheer Force ability, but it's more accurate. It packs more power, so that's what we're gonna go with. The very last move, as I said, we don't have any fire coverage. We're just gonna go with the Fire Blast, which doesn't Oko Ferrous Seed, but leaves a huge dent at it. I used it, and I think it did like 75% to Ferrous Seed. I'm not sure what kind of Ferrous Seed spread that was, but this is going to be the team. Golurk to set up hazards, our Quiver Dancing Lilligant, defensive Xatu, defensive Gramble, mixed defensive Lantern, and mixed attacking. Well, you can still see this as a physically attacking Life Orb, Sheer Force, Taurus. Taurus has a nice speed tier. The only thing that speed ties with it is Archeops. So that's what we're gonna go with for today. Hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys in my next video, which will be a live video with this team. Bye bye.